back to the Not Carrie Bradshaw YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to semi-angrily recap what the hell happened the last episode of Insecure. I am so stressed out over Molly and her antics, so let's just get into it. So I kind of don't even want to do like a scene for scene recap because y'all clearly watched the same show that I watched. A few things that stood out to me before we really get into the meat and potatoes of the final blow up between Issa and Molly, at least thus far in the season. I just want to point out a few things that I really loved from this episode. Number one, I loved the intern slash executive assistant and her commentary into the headset. That was some much needed comic relief for what ended up being a really, really tense episode towards the end. I loved how she was like, whatever she said about like Badu to get like the spoken word girl off the stage. Y'all, I hate spoken word. I don't know if that's like an okay thing to say like as a black person, but it's so draining. I don't like the cadence of it. I don't like the content. Like, it's a no for me. No, thank you. And I loved at the end when they were like, you should probably go to the emergency room. And she's like, I don't have health insurance. And it was like, relatable content and a little bit close to home, given what we're going through right now. Thank God I have health insurance. Shouts out to you. Thank you. The other thing that I really liked slash hated, we're really seeing that Tiffany has postpartum depression. She mentioned like leaving the baby in the grocery store and tried to kind of laugh it off and just like being really happy that the baby wasn't here, which I get or I understand from secondhand experience of, you know, when you become a new mom and just kind of wanting some semblance of your own identity and being able to be out without that baby. I get it, sure. But girl, you seem to not really be handling this too well. And what I really loved was how her husband stepped up. They got the call from the babysitter that the baby was not happy and was going the fuck through it. And I really loved that her husband stepped up and was like, I'll leave, you stay. Like, bitch, you clearly need a break. And I get the bar is really low in terms of what we expect from new fathers. Because I think what I've observed is that new fathers tend to kind of think that when the baby is a baby, they can't do anything for the baby, that it's just like the mom's baby at that point. So I was really happy to see that her husband left the event, was like, you know, do you need me to leave the car? Which, terrible question, this bitch is obviously gonna be drunk. No, but that he was like, I'll go, I'll look after the baby. And again, the bar is in hell for what we expect from new fathers, but I was just really happy and relieved to see him, you know, leave this event to go be with his newborn. And I would like to see more fathers do that. I also really liked when he cussed out that young group of guys who was kind of making fun of the girls when they were taking their old school pics or whatever. And he blamed it on being tired, but I often feel that way about youths, as I like to call them. The other thing is like Kelly continues to be a ridiculous person. And I don't know if they intentionally did this or if someone did this before this reference that I know of, but on Parks and Rec, there is an episode where Tom Haverford, who's played by Aziz Ansari, meets this girl who he really likes and puts on a British accent because he gets so nervous and then randomly has to like drop it off. And the girl was like, what the hell? So I really liked seeing that callback, whether it was intentional or not, with Kelly doing it with, oh, what was his name? Darnell? I might be making that up. But either way, it was the rapper Amine. I might be saying his name wrong, but I really enjoyed his character and how he said there are two branches of government. Low-key, I think that a lot of people probably don't actually know how many branches of government they are and how they function. So I really like that he said presidential and bank, and that's why there's so many banks of America. I just thought that was so stellar writing for that character. It was really entertaining, especially because Kelly didn't have to do much to convince him that she was from London, like at all, because he clearly doesn't know very much about America, let alone London. So I really enjoyed that character. What was the other kind of sidebar? Oh, I really enjoy Nathan's voice. I could listen to him. He could read me a children's book. He could read me a menu. He could read me the directions on a tampon box. He could read me the chemical ingredients on makeup products that I probably shouldn't use. He could read me the foreword to a book that I'm not interested in. that man's voice, it's southern, it's deep, it's soothing, it has a little bit of a drawl to it. I I want to hear him talk about anything forever and always. Um, I don't know if I want Issa and Nathan to get back together, but I do enjoy seeing him support her, and I want to know where the hell Lawrence was. Condola randomly showed her trifling ass up there, and let's talk about Condola. Condola and Issa had a really good vibe. They had a really good friendship. The only thing that made their friendship weird was Lawrence. Now that we have it confirmed that Lawrence is no longer in the picture, why is it weird? If he was the only hitch in the relationship between Issa and Condola, and now he's been removed, what's the issue now? And then also, why would you disappear on her because you broke up with him? What was said in the conversation that you felt it apropos to just ghost her? That was so trifling to me, and I think Issa handled it really well. Let me back up too. Issa handled a lot really well this episode. I was really happy to see some semblance of character development from her in this episode, because we've seen her just be so awkward and fail so often. So I was really happy to see her kind of flourishing and coming into her own with this event that she's been planning for so long. I mean, honestly, there was still some secondhand embarrassment, but not nearly as much as what I was anticipating. The other thing that I really liked was when she thought that she was going to go talk to the press. When I tell you, that was painfully accurate, because whenever I cover events, there's always a YouTuber there who I may or may not have ever heard of, who has like a full camera crew. And because they have this full camera crew, the publicists always give them like kind of first pick on the red carpet. So whoever like the guest of, like the star guest of the evening is, will more than likely go talk to that person first, because they have this full camera crew and they look super official, and they may not even know what outlet they're for. That shit was spot on. I love that. Again, the writing continues to be so accurate and so true to real life. I love it. I really enjoyed Andrew pointing out to Molly that putting on an event like this takes a lot, and maybe that's why you guys have been off, because she's been really working on something. And remember when you were working really hard and you kind of put me on the back burner. And I think that sometimes we can receive something that's super common sense when it comes from another source that we trust or like a little bit more. What I really like that Molly said at the beginning of her scene is, I love her, but I don't really like her right now. I have been there many, many times in the past couple of years with some very close friends where it's like, I'm not vibing with you right now, and I just will distance myself from them instead of, until I work out my feelings, or until like I'm ready to talk about whatever. I'm not going to keep putting myself in positions where I have to be passive aggressive, or you're being passive aggressive with me. I'm not going to do that. If you could just own, I don't like this person right now, and take a beat and then have a conversation, maybe we wouldn't have gotten to where we got to at the end of the episode. So Issa is kind of questioning how the event is going, because there are far more white people there than she anticipated, which happens. Like, I know when I've gone to like Curl Fest, which is this like festival for natural hair for black women, and it's in Prospect Park, the way the white people look, they're like, what the hell did we stumble into? But then some of them are like, oh, everything's so pretty. Let me walk around and see what, I want to purchase some things for my curly hair. It's, again, relatable content. When Sir came on the stage, I told y'all last episode review, I really enjoy that man's music. I was like, oh, so she got Inglewood Sir, and I was like, well, how did she pull this off? How did she pull it off? Like, there were some missing pieces, and going back, it was a little bit clear, like in the beginning of her conversation with Nathan, that he'd played some role in helping her get some things done. So fast forward, she gets Vince Staples, and it's, again, that intern and the nosebleed child sent me. But come to find out, Issa used her network, because Molly said that she did not want to be in the middle of Andrew doing this favor for her. So Issa talked to Nathan, who talked to Andrew on her behalf, and got these artists for her, which Molly took as a slight. Now, Molly was hating from the beginning of the episode. She didn't want to go and expressed that she had felt really let down by Issa in the past, that Issa didn't celebrate her in the way that she'd wanted to be celebrated. So why should she celebrate things for her? Which I can understand that being a valid point, but is today the day that you need to express that? Is today the day that you need to flake on her to prove a point? I don't think so. And come to find out, you know, again, Andrew looked out, which I'm sorry, I think that this was a good move for Andrew as well, that he put, you know, his contacts in contact with Issa for this festival. Like, it was a good move for everyone involved. And we had these hints in the episode that maybe Issa and Molly were gonna reconnect, and that this was gonna be the thing that brought them back together. Like, they were doing the wobble together, and it was like, oh, friendship, yay. And, you know, Molly tries to bring her some wings. Bitches love wings, you know. And then no, Molly just loses her shit on Issa, and just the things that they were saying to each other. Again, I don't know why. Let me say this. Issa and Molly were both failing at communicating their feelings with each other, but for some reason, Molly seems to always be the one who's wrong to me. Maybe that's something I need to investigate on my own, but Molly always looks like the one who's the most wrong. And this isn't even about you feeling like Issa stabbed you in the back or went behind your back to get to Andrew. If it weren't for Issa, you wouldn't even know Andrew. You wouldn't even be dating Andrew. So actually, Andrew was her connect first. You didn't want to be in the middle, so she found a way to circumvent that using her own network. You just seem like a hating ass bitch, Molly. I'm sorry, like, you just seem like a hater. You seem like you did not want Issa to actually flourish without your help. And I've been in this situation where people feel a way about me, and instead of just saying, I don't really care for you, they look for these weird kind of like nitpicky things to say, like, oh, you know, I don't like the way you talk. I will never forget, somebody once told me they didn't like me because they felt like I talked white, and like fully tried to like fight me. It was ridiculous. Anyway, another story for another day. But this isn't about Andrew. This isn't about you wanting to protect this relationship, because Andrew was more than happy to help your best friend. This is about you, Molly. There's something in you or about you that you don't really want to see Issa flourish right now. What is that about? Like, I'm hoping that we'll get to it in the next episode, because I really want to understand why Molly continues to get in her own way. It can't just be you're hating on your best friend. You're hating on your best friend. Why? Is it because I know there are some people in life who don't really know how to be good friends unless their lives are going really well. And I can't quite say that that's what's happening with Molly, because Molly's apparently doing pretty good at work, even though work is she's kind of swamped with work right now. She seems to be doing pretty good. Her relationship with Andrew seems to be going pretty well, because he has the patience of Job to deal with her many neuroses. So why are these things being taken out on Issa? And I went from that Regina Hall clip when she was on the Instagram Live with Kevin Hart, where she had her hands over her head, like, oh my God. When they first started arguing, when they first started having this confrontation, to let them hoes fight. It happened real fast for me. Real fast. When Molly put her hand in her face and started getting loud, this was not the time nor the place. I always get annoyed with people on reality shows when that's like their go-to, when someone is confronting them or expecting them to be held accountable for something that they've done wrong. And it's like, this is neither the time nor the place. That really wasn't the time or the place. You ruined this girl's event. Like, why would you want to have this confrontation with her about this right now? Let her have something. Shit. She's had so little for so long. Let her have something. If you feel that it was deceitful, I'll give you that, but did you have to do it right now? Did you have to do it today, Molly? And honestly, like, I've wanted Issa to just pop Molly in the mouth several times. From her giving up that parking spot to now this, she needs just a quick bow and just move on. Just move on. Let them hoes fight. I didn't want it to happen at the event. Follow her to her car. Y'all scrap it out and y'all move on. Like, I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over Molly. I'm over her problematic ass issues being spewed out into this friendship with Issa, because it seems like Issa's like the weakest link. And that's kind of what I feel like it is. She's an easy target. She's the easy person to place blame on. And I feel like that's what she's done. And I'm over it. Like, slap her in her mouth and move on. So my question continues to be, where the hell was Lawrence? Why the hell is Condola mad at Issa when the problem in their friendship, which was Lawrence, is now gone? Like, hello. I love that Kelly finally got found out at the end and was like, nigga, I'm from Philly. And then also, true to form, I think they ended that scene in a really accurate way, because Black folks really can't never have nothing. Like, you never know what happens, but when Black people see one person run, we all run. And if somebody mentions anything about a gun or a knife or anything, just scatter. We'll figure out if it was real later. And we've all had that happen at several events over our lifetime. So again, they continue to write relatable content. Low-key, I just want Molly and Issa to fight and move on. I know that's not mature. I know violence is never the answer, but I said what I said, so that's how I feel. This episode was really, really good. It wasn't as cringe. It wasn't this consistent build up to what the hell. They finally just kind of had it out, and I'm curious to see where they're gonna go from this point. I suspect that Molly is going to blow up on Andrew about this, and that she's also going to blame Issa for whatever happens between her and Andrew, because I think Issa's just an easy scapegoat for her and for her issues, honestly. So I enjoyed this episode. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, do all those good things. And we'll talk again next week. Bye.